Okay, I'm Rob.
And who do you wish you'd voted for?
Rand Paul. And I actually penciled him in. It was a conscious vote.
And I'm Chris, and I would have voted for Bernie Sanders. I did vote for Hillary.
So both of you ended up with second choices in the end. How do you feel about the results of the election?
I'm okay with the result. You know, I think America wanted a change, and guess what? That's what we got. That's what we're getting. So with that, you know.
Well, I'm not at all surprised. I'm a little disappointed, but I saw this coming. I kind of predicted it, actually, because there are a lot of really angry people that want to be heard, and they feel the government and career politicians have lied to them, so they wanted somebody different. And I think the anger was bigger than the risk of the unknown.
You were originally for Bernie Sanders. Do you think
Yes.
Bernie would have beaten Trump?
You know, I don't know. I think Bernie Sanders was a good example of people wanting change. So it's on both sides. Yeah, it could happen.
Was there something in your mind that you think Secretary Clinton could have done to win the election that she wouldn't do?
You know, I don't know, because I think they believe they would win it. The pollsters believe they would win it. You know,
The Trump team thought that Clinton was going to win in all likelihood.
Yeah, exactly. The Trump. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if there was anything she could have done differently. I think that she is a career politician, and I think people feel she lied. You know, they were just unhappy.
But you were still willing to vote for her.
I was still willing to vote for her because at heart I'm a Democrat, and there are policies that Trump has that I don't agree with, and I just don't agree.
What are your hopes for the country?
Good economy. Need to get jobs back. This is why I kind of support Trump in his NAFTA deals, the trade deals. That needs to be fixed. I hope that my daughter has a future, a good job, a career. Maybe someday she'll break that glass ceiling that Hillary tried to, but couldn't do it.
I should mention, you're small business owners.
Yeah.
How does that play into your hopes and fears for the future?
Oh, I'm not even sure. I think Trump has promised that there wouldn't be increases in taxes, and I'm not sure how that's even possible. But small business owners usually pay some sort of price when there's a change in leadership. So we'll have to wait and see.
What are your biggest concerns about a Trump presidency?
My biggest concerns about a Trump presidency is how much lack of communication there is, how divided the presidential race was. It was very divided. His ideas were very divided. I'm afraid people will spend more time not talking to one another. I'm not in a position where I can defend my choice, and people don't want to defend their choice to me either, because I think they're afraid of arguments, name calling, all that kind of thing, which has been going on.
You two have agreed to talk with each other. This is a great time to mention that you're married.
Right.
You've had some interesting political conversations over the years, but yet you choose to still talk about politics.
Yeah.
Well, if we didn't, we'd both be sleeping in a different bedroom. No, I think for me, it's, I respect what she thinks and her values and her opinions on things ranging from the business to politics to foreign affairs, whatever. And I have my own opinions, and you know, there's this avenue of respect that we come to when we have this discussion. We both know when to stop, but we both know that we don't end the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So with that, she's easy to talk to. I don't agree with her all the time, but it would be no fun if I did.
Exactly.
What's your perspective on it? On the idea of talking and choosing to engage?
Well, I think it's very important we choose to engage, that we understand why people make the decisions they make. I know that with Rob having different political ideas than me, that I've learned. I've learned about libertarians. I've learned about Republicans more than I would have, and I've even learned about my own beliefs on the Democratic side and why I feel that way. So that's where it's really important. If we're not talking to one another, we're not even going to explore our own reasons, let alone other people's.
Did you feel that his write-in vote for Rand Paul was effectively a vote
No.
for Clinton? Because Trump people would have said he effectively voted for Clinton.
I don't, because Colorado did actually vote for Clinton, and no, I don't feel it was a write-in. I think
Was there any attempt by either of you to convince the other one?
No,
no.
not at all.
Well, maybe. Maybe
That's a no.
okay.
That's a not at all. I wouldn't be convinced, but I wasn't about to push my political points on her. And she's got her own mind.
Yeah.
Rob mentioned his hopes for your daughter. I hear from a lot of parents and a lot of young women who are concerned about what Trump's America will look like for them.
It is very concerning. He has been unkind to women. I mean, if it's just language and just words, then I would appreciate it if he would be more careful of how he speaks, though I believe it's his actions as well. I'm afraid that we've been set back, that girls will be less confident to come forward and to speak their minds and even get into politics. You know, I think that could happen. A lot of it is wait and see, but it's a little bit more uncomfortable for some of us to wait and see. And I think when you're a minority and you have a girl, you know, as a child, it's something worth looking at.
Is it possible that if his plans work out, that President Trump, whom you voted against, could be spectacular for your small business?
Well, I don't know which plans those are. I don't know, yeah. I mean, he's going to work on the trade agreements, which I really do agree with, and I think that's fantastic. And I think he could do a lot of really good things. But I think that there is so much anger with him that could possibly get in the way. And of course, keep people from seeing the good he's doing because of the rhetoric and the anger.
You guys brought these out. These are a nice touch. I like that. Kind of sets the mood for the conversation. What
That's right.
advice do you have for other people about engaging with people with whom they disagree?
Well, I think we have to give people a chance. I mean, everyone says we need to give Trump a chance. Okay, I agree with that. But we also have to give people a chance to disagree with one another, to want to hear what they have to say rather than to want them to hear what I have to say. And, you know, at the end of the day, what we're teaching hope is to have an opinion, to speak your mind. But the fastest way to be heard is first to listen. And I think a lot of grown-ups need to do that too.
It's interesting. We're calling this "Let's Just Talk," but you're suggesting it's also "Let's just listen"
Let's just listen.
and
Yeah.
do some of that as well. Rob, what do you think in terms of advice for engagement?
Listen, for sure. Everybody's got their own opinion, and I've always been the type of person to realize that disagreements causes solutions. So if there's a disagreement, the communication is key to understand where the other person is coming from first before you start spewing out your own opinions or names. You know, I don't get the name calling. I think name calling is because you just don't know what else to say. And the reason you don't know what to say is because you're not listening.
I find that a lot of people seem to assume the absolute worst about the people who disagree with them. That Clinton voters say, if you voted for Trump, then you must believe wholeheartedly in the worst things that he said or suggested. And the Trump people believe of the Clinton folks that though they were A-okay with the corruption or the deceit or whatever else went along with that package. People are just so quick to believe the absolute worst about each other. I wonder if that's just kind of like baked into the cake, if that's how we operate nowadays, or what? I don't have a good answer on that one.
I don't either. It could be.
Trump president could have an answer, could have a solution.
It's possible. Anything is possible.
How old is your daughter?
She's 8 years old.
8 years old.
Yeah.
What does she know about the election?
Well, she's followed it somewhat, and she voted for Hillary. They did the election at school,
Uh-huh.
and because Hillary's a woman, and that's fantastic. She also hears things. We try to keep her involved, but age appropriately involved. So she does hear about the wall and other things, and then a lot of kids at school talk about it. So she knows more than I wanted her to know. And some of it she's just not old enough to understand if it's explained to her. So it's kind of, it's a hard spot.
Yeah, I think what she knows about the election is through the conversations that we have at home. So, you know, we don't pull any punches at home. You know, we don't get into arguments about it.
Yeah.
But when we realize that we're all in the same boat, the best thing we can do now is just, you know, it's a democracy. He was elected. This is what it is. So rather than continuing the tug of war we've got going on, we need to sit down, let's just talk, and come together and get behind the president, no matter who he is. Just like we did with Obama, just like we did with Bush, and, you know, Reagan, and all before Trump. So.
Some folks would say that never really happened with President Bush or with President Obama. The people kind of stayed in their own camps, and it stayed super heated.
I remember the eggs getting thrown at Bush's limo, you know, and the uproar with Florida, you know, the Supreme Court stuff going on back then. I remember that one.
I don't think people have talked about it. I think what happened is social media. So where people could be in the privacy of their own home and have their beliefs and be angry or uncomfortable, all of a sudden we have social media where we can be less personal and yet so personal, and in attacking and insulting and some of the humor and things like that. And I think it really affects how people are not going to be able to talk with one another.
Yeah, I believe you're right, because social media gets that shield of protection, you know, the anonymity in it, if I said that right.
You did.
But yeah, because it's easy to type in idiot rather than look somebody in the face and say, hey, you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And the request I put on social media last night was, I want to know. I would like to know why you think things will be better, what it is exactly, you know, let me know. But what I asked is that do it without insulting the other party, whichever side you're on. You know, do it without an insult or a name calling. And I have to say, I lost a friend.
Just for encouraging people to talk.
Yes,
Yeah.
without insulting. And
I've lost some viewers for encouraging people to talk to each other.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's kinda sad.
I've heard some of the emails you get. You handle it quite well, by the way. That's pretty cool.
Thanks. Well, I appreciate you guys. It's not that I appreciate you talking. You talk every day. I appreciate you letting us in on your conversation.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thanks
Yeah.
for, you know, inviting us.
Yeah, thank you.